It was obvious that they were seeking a type of magic that uses the power of mind to captivate crowds, and nothing can change that. The young man is well known and had a frail body. Pruo, on the other hand, was in the midst of his evolution, with access to all his abilities, territorial advantages, and artifacts. Even though Jared could easily dodge Delic's attack patterns and slowly drain his life by wisely using his magic, either of them could kill him with a single blow if he let his guard down for just 1 second. However, that type of strategy wasn't Pruo or Caper's style. Faced with this dilemma, Jared bet on Pruo's special ability, Recklessness. This ability works as if you were stepping on an accelerator. Thus, the user can increase their physical capacity in stages, and it's very effective against the Lord. However, Jared provoked Pruo to make him advance through the stages of Recklessness. Being a proud man with a notorious criminal reputation, Pruo couldn't endure so many insults. Then, after his mind was overtaken by Recklessness, Jared used spatial magic to pierce Pruo with his own sword. Pruo made a mistake he normally wouldn't have, and it cost him his life. Jared explains to his enemy that to win that battle, he should have kept a cool head and a warm heart, as people say. Next, the young man takes a powder in his hand and explains that countless people died because of the drugs Pruo sold. People who went into debt because of it, and this would be revenge for them. Thus, our protagonist puts the drug into his opponent's mouth. The Lord also says that since the criminal always proudly sold it, he should feel firsthand the sensation of using that drug. And upon ingesting it, the criminal begins to writhe and convulse. Seeing this, Lek is Continental Calendar Order. Seeing this, Lek is Continental Order. Inside a carriage, seeing this, Lek is Continental Order. Inside a carriage, Lena questioned the Lord if he really wanted her to go to his territory. Jared explained Lekka's thought about Kribia's well-fortified, geographically advantageous position, but lamented that they had only 300 soldiers. The military flag had been placed in a visible position for most to see, and nearly everything was ready. The only issue left was that 100 untrained peasants had volunteered to fight. A soldier thanked the peasants for their solidarity in light of the shortage of troops. The man expressed his shame and regret that they all had to face such a situation due to the lack of an adequate military force. Lakiz continued his speech, reminding everyone that Lord Jared had only sought peace with Malurka, even bowing to them in hopes of achieving it. Yet Malurka still coveted Kribia. The number of soldiers with basic training had reached 1,200, so the untrained peasants were free to leave if they wished. After all, the fact that they were standing with the soldiers was already a great help. As he spoke, Lakiz had a flashback of someone calling him to leave. Our protagonist thought that Lakiz's loyalty was always reliable, and that made him happy. And now that he had gathered various talents around him, he wanted to produce great results, so that he could achieve his goal of becoming the protagonist of that vast world. Jared finally finished, and the system informed him that the combination was complete, and that he could finalize the item by inserting mana. Euclid stated that this was not a problem, and after using his mana, he created the artifact Bar Ring with various abilities. He celebrated as he had gained 2 abilities related to craftsmanship, and the 2 months of investment had really paid off. The Lord then thought that this way the artifact from Mahart's tomb could be reconstructed. Suddenly, Hayes knocked on the door, informing her lord that it was time for training. It was obvious that they were seeking revenge. Based on his knowledge, the Duke reveals to Maria that this was the work of the Umbra Church. The young woman agrees, stating that they must have gathered information about the kingdom, and Jared replies that he will reveal the solution to her. He informs her that he has the cure for the epidemic, called the Master Potion, which could eliminate all waterborne diseases. Upon hearing this, Maria is deeply impressed, questioning how the young man was capable of such things. He simply responds that he has studied herbal medicine since childhood, and now was proving to be very useful. Continental Calendar of Nas on March 4, 1424, the flames of the Great Stallion War are burning on the continent of Nas. The continent is engulfed in flames, numerous lives have turned to ashes, and there is no being that can stop the Demon King's army. Death is well known. On the other hand, Corsby is known for being very dangerous, and at the very least, a group of 15 people is required to conquer it. However, he went there alone because he was confident in his abilities. Our protagonist tells himself that one of the reasons for coming there is to deal with the boss and take all the drops for himself. Additionally, he also needed to upgrade Delric's bracelet, an item he had acquired. The young man thinks that he will have to increase his stats while he is there, since he never knows when he might have to face someone stronger. Furthermore, he comments that the continent is vast and full of monsters. Finally, the boy reaches an imposing door, the entrance to Course B. He seems hesitant, but is confident in what he can do. Thus, he takes out the Tatran X armor from his magic storage, knowing he will need it. Before equipping it, he thinks that the sage who created it will probably enjoy seeing this. He then activates the Equip command, making a red light shine on the armor. It fuses with our protagonist, uploading some information. In his mind, the boy comments that this must be how a superhero in movies feels. Ukels also concludes that he is in good condition and should finish things quickly. He then opens the door to Course B, embarking on his new journey. The dark elf, seeing this, wants to captivate crowds, and nothing can change that. The young man also thinks that it is concerning considering Paradiso's history, but he believes that just like Lena, Valdez can change his fate. Thus, he decides to get straight to the point, calling out to Valdez, who quickly responds. The blonde proposes that Valdez become his public relations secretary, becoming the spokesperson for Cribia and driving the development and promotion of the territory's culture. Hearing this proposal, the long-haired man questions whether it is real. The narrator explains that all the lords Valdez had served forced him to spread lies and hide news about disasters. They were so terrible that they would make even a kind person lose faith in humanity, as they were demons who only served their own selfish desires. And without any guilt or hesitation, they decreed any madness they wished, using Valdez for these acts. However, Lord Jared was different, as he was someone who prioritized the well-being of his territory. And upon receiving this proposal, Valdez realizes that this is the man he has been searching for. However, the order states that he has a condition, and Jared asks him to continue. Hence, Betty declares that he does not wish to promote a leader who becomes a demon, and Jared agrees with him. The man continues, saying that he does not want a duke who tells lies or sings praises that betray his leader's virtues. Thus, he asks whether Jared can promise to be a leader with such benevolence rooted in his heart. The blonde questions if that was all and asks what rewards Valdez wanted. After hearing this, the orator denies any interest in money, stating that all he desires is to elevate the person he serves to the heavens. That is his only inspiration. Our protagonist realizes that this is Valdez's true nature, as the man is a kingmaker. Eucalyptus concludes that the speeches Valdez gave in Paradiso were merely to promote the one he followed, the Demon King. Jared then states that he promises to be the leader Valdez always wanted, and if he fails to do so, the man can leave him. The long-haired man thanks him, saying that despite his own incompetence, he will do everything to achieve the great goal they share. Then the two shake hands, reaching an agreement.